Welcome back to my channel, my dear family and friends. It's been a rather taxing day in that there was an Afghan murderer, a terrorist who attacked our brave military that were standing in Washington, D.C. This is a horrific act of barbarous terror. And I think we sometimes forget this is a war. This is a military operation. Now, and a lot of the information that we receive is more about the color, let's say the color, meaning the nuanced the idea more than what actually occurs. And a lot of times we get distracted by the third dimension details, by the physicality of an event or an information. And I think that if we're able to see this struggle in the context that it really is, which is it is a war. And as Q says, it's not a war against men. It's not against people. This is a war against the principalities of dark, of evil. The word archons comes to mind. There's a film out by I guess an Illuminati master of some sort saying that there are beings that are feeding off our energy. This is evil itself. What we see with our fleshy eyes is this one, an Afghan refugee shooting. It's like this seems to have a kind of a kinetic third dimensional aspect. Let me get. Oh, I forgot to get to chats. Hey everybody, I'm sorry. Hey, big homie, right? Yeah, that's what they used to call me in when I was a high school teacher because I was always like fighting the administrators. Anyway, um, and my guys were gangsters, and I loved them so much because they were just so truthful and so out there and so honest. But anyway, we sometimes forget. I think it is easy to forget. Let's put it that way. That we are. This is a war, a like a fundamental struggle of dark versus light, of evil versus good, of creators and creation, and people who have a sense of purpose, a sense of family, a sense of the beauty and the wholeness and the wonder of existence versus evil. And what is evil? Evil is that which has nothing of its own. Evil does not say, well, I'm going to create this. I mean, they do create these backwater systems, but it's really more of like tapping, of stealing. They can steal from us, they can trick us, but they can't create on their own. They have nothing of their own to create. They're not about creation, about love or peace or purpose. They're about destruction and chaos. They feed off our energy, literally feed off this energy. So, what I was just kind of like thinking about today is that we forget, easily to forget, this is a military operation. It's not kind of military, like President Trump is calling in 500 National Guardsmen to go to Washington, D.C. This is not accidental. This is part of a magnificent plan that was, from our point of view, was began in 1963 after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. It is a war against the principalities of darkness. That's how Q describes it. It is not about men. It is not about, it is not about the CEO of Pfizer. I mean, it is, because those are the people who are perpetrating on a physical level, but they're not the powers of darkness. They use the powers of darkness, these people. So I think it's a good thing to remember that President Trump is a wartime president, that we according to my understanding, we have been under martial law since I think it's 2016. We've been under martial law. So people say, he should he should call out the Insurrection Act and he should put us under martial law. We've been under martial law. It's kind of like saying, like, when I was more involved with the Yidden, and when I was a practicing uh, Orthodox Yid, people would say, you're going to make the Muslims angry, and I was like, they're already angry. They're angry by nature. The nature of the thought stream is about anger, is about, not that other religions also don't have this channeled energy of anger, because so much of religion is just fights against nature. It's just not natural. Okay, so people are naturally pent up and angry. So Derek Johnson is, I think, very good at putting out the information that we're in martial law. We've been under martial law for years. It's just that the military is cleverly kind of backed off so that we don't really understand this aspect of our, well, there are no soldiers in the streets where I live. I mean, where I live, for sure not. But so how can we be under martial law? Well, we are. We are under martial law. I mean, I've come to accept that, and I think if you listen to somebody like Derek Johnson, who has more knowledge of military tactics and military ways and means, which I don't. I've never been in the military. I came close during the Vietnam War, but it wasn't something that in this lifetime I was meant to experience. You look like somebody who survived the fire and came back with maps, and no one else has. Well, perhaps. I think, but I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of the information streams, I don't really listen to the popular podcasters, but so much of it is based, yeah, and I think that might be, I think that's really true in a sense, because I just don't get involved in the details. It's just not my nature. I'm not saying that it could be that it's harmful to try to figure out what's really going on, to try to comprehend and predict. I don't bother with that level of detail, because I know it's a movie. It's basically a movie we're watching. So when President Trump says we're taking 500 more troops, can you take this, baby? We're going to put 500 more troops in Washington, D.C. That's part of the plan. They were going to do that anyway, but now they have a good, like a good reason to do something like this. But this is going on all over the country, and so a lot of people, you might spend a lot of time getting upset about what's going on in Minnesota, but from what I see, let's just go to the thought stream. From what I see on this, um, okay, 500 troops. Okay, so let's look at this. This is just part of the information stream. I think, and I don't think this is like any kind of news. Like, this is something new that's just happening. This is part of the plan.
I want to start by saying, after those meetings, myself and my team were notified that 2 National Guardsmen have been shot in Washington, D.C., critically wounded. The shooter shot in a cowardly, dastardly act, targeting the best of America, heroes willing to serve in Washington, D.C., serve for people they don't.
Okay, but that's this is war, right? This is war, and that's something that we need to keep in mind, in my opinion. Now here, great news: federal agents are going hard in Minneapolis, spotted perp walking more illegal aliens. Leftists are surrounding them everywhere. Nothing will deter these men. This so what I'm saying, what I think I'm saying, is that this is part of the plan. They're going to take the illegal aliens are going to be taken out of the picture. This is this is part of the plan. It's a military operation. This is a war. And the leftists who show up and try to make it difficult for our brave soldiers to continue what they're doing, they are the enemy. This is a war. And we are already under martial law, in my opinion, and in the opinion of somebody who knows more about this than I do, which is Derek Johnson. Derek Johnson gets he just fumes in anger because people don't get it. This is a war. Now Q has said we are not fighting a war against flesh and blood. This is against the principalities of darkness. If I was more prepared, I would have that. I mean, I did have that. I had that brought up. I shouldn't say that because I am prepared. You know what? Let me just bring that up. Okay. Q alerts. Okay. Um, no. Okay, that wasn't what I want. Okay. Um, ah, Okay, so I'm unable to find it at the moment. I actually had it up, but I wanted to show you some other Q posts for tomorrow that I think are fundamental to understand. Absolutely fundamental. The Q posts for November 27th are I accidentally stumbled across them, but they're monumental and they must be understood. I like that. Mike Tay or news. I like that very much. I take that as a compliment because I feel like that sometimes. Like why don't other podcasters really get this? Why don't they get this? That this is a war primarily, that we are under martial law, that the enemy is, yes, there are liberals in the street, but the enemy is essentially a mindset, and that when we cross the barrier, when we leave the matrix and come into the promised land where we are sovereign individuals, we are fighting the war and we are winning the war, and nothing can stop what's coming. We are going to win this war, but we're fighting a vicious and mercurial, a chameleon like, literally. I mean, we're talking about reptiles. I mean, they change colors, they shapeshift. So if one were to get lost in the details of, oh my gosh, it was another, illegal alien just shot her, it's like, well, that's the war. I'm not saying it's not horrific, I'm not saying it's disgusting, but I am saying that, like, we are at war. This is not a surprise to me. As it's a vicious attack, no question about it. And the war is not in our face. It's not, you cannot clearly see the war. we're getting the news that all these stem cell from fetal stem cells are put into like common products like Tropicana orange juice. Like great healthy stuff to drink, right? It's full of eh, you know stem cells from fetuses. Why? Because the Satanists want to involve us in their act of satanic ritual of eating people, eating babies. Something else really occurred to me, and I've been kind of channeling a certain energy lately. Remember, I do occasionally channel some forces. But today really came to me that the Avatar, the idea of the Avatar movie, is a really good metaphor for what's going on today. I'm living in a place where I look at a formation of rock and I say, that looks like a tree stump. So we are fighting a vicious, blood sucking, highly technological enemy. And we sometimes forget that we're not fighting enemies of flesh and blood. So that's why I don't tend to focus on the details, like what's really going on with with the Afghan refugee. It's like, no, it's we know what's going on, but we have to look more at the shape and the color and the tone than the actual event, which we don't know how much of the interest, the news that we get is actually physically, kinetically provable in any way. Even our whole existence could be a kind of a holographic experience. So, to say, well, that didn't really happen. I mean, on what level are you basing that? Is it that it's something it's not possible for you to imagine? Is it something that has to happen physically, kinetically, or is it an agreed upon by enough people thought stream that you just assume it is what it is? It's upsetting. Yes, it is very upsetting. But I think, yeah, and I get it. I definitely get it. It's very upsetting. I was fuming this morning. I've been fuming about the chemtrails. I mean, because I wake up in the middle of nowhere, in the most beautiful, pristine. I'm surrounded by state land and mountains, and I look up in the sky, and they're making X's in the sky. I'm like, how do I deal with it? It's like I want to have, and I this is where I feel like I'm in the Avatar movie, that these archons, these evil, this whole evil satanic realm is attacking like a kind of organic, love based, family based, creativity, purpose based life form, that we're being attacked by a bunch of, like in the Avatar movie. The enemy was, they were interested in getting the resources out of the place. They didn't care about destroying the big trees. They didn't care about killing the native people. People are saying now that the Avatar movie is not, it's a documentary like The Matrix. So yeah, we are having a great one. I don't mean to be dour. I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be negative, but I think that we sometimes as a community forget that this is a war, man. I mean, and we're fighting the real enemy. We're not, this is not one of those cases where the creepazoids get us to fight each other, like in Some of All Fears, where the enemy says, well, we're not going to fight Russia, and we're not going to fight the United States. We'll just get them to fight each other. And now we're fighting the real enemy. We're fighting, like in the Sum of All Fears, the Nazis behind this atomic explosion. They rigged this up to make people want to kill each other. And that's what we've been dealing with for forever. And the whole then again, the whole Tartarian story, where these Cabbage Patch babies were the orphans from the good old days, were shipped across country in orphan trains, Cabbage Patch kids. I don't know what brought that up, but I think the Avatar movie is very appropriate for us now. And when I look up in the sky and I see the chemtrails, I just think, isn't there some kind of, don't I have some kind of weapon, some kind of technological thing that could at least send the signal to these people that we see you and we don't approve. It's very frustrating to deal with this level of depravity and feel like there's nothing really you can do. But I don't think there's nothing we can do. I think that being aware of it, talking about it, posting about it, sending pictures about it, it is a very powerful way to combat this vicious enemy. So it all comes from the British elites, right? Yeah, but okay, but Melody, you're right. It does come from the British elites, but it doesn't come from the British elites. It comes from demonic forces that the British elites channel and use to gain power. So to focus on the British elites, or to focus on China, the Chinese communists, or to focus on the Ukrainian and the biolabs is missing the point. A lot of people want to blame Israel, and there is an aspect of demonic channeling in the whole story of Israel was a Rothschild adventure into perpetrating conflict in the Middle East. Me too, because it seems like they're allowed to spray us like roaches, right? I mean, come on, something has to go down. But I understand there could be optics we don't know. Yes, that's a very interesting point. Um, Mike Ete, Lore News. That's a very interesting thought, and I know that Ricardo, was it Ricardo? Bossi says that this is a white hat operation. The white hats are doing this, and it could very well be that the white hats are doing this just to wake people up. This could be the sky event that Q talks of. This could be the sky event because nothing could unify mankind better than the chemtrails. I spoke to my mother today. My mother is a diehard liberal, a Trump hater to the core. And she's telling me, there's nothing you can do about corruption. It'll always be here. And I'm like, Mom, they're spraying the sky. And she's like, well, I don't know what that is. It's just like I'm just, it gives me an insight into how people, they just hold on to this idea that the Democrats are good and the Republicans are bad. And she's telling me, well, she's saying, well, the Republicans are, and I'm saying, like, hey, listen, I don't give the Republicans a break either. They're all in on it. And she's like, well, corruption is just, we're always going to have to deal with corruption. And Trump is stealing just like everybody else. I'm just like, that's not true. First of all, we don't even know what the character, the president, is the president like a real person, like the way he's presented? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I think much of this is just a movie to really to attract our attention and to get us to shift our way of looking at life. Back in the day, it was like Walter Cronkite, man, he said it. That's the news. That's what's really going on. Was it? I don't know. I don't think so. Old people lived in the matrix too long. My mom says everything is not going to change. Right. Yeah, I think so. It's just like that's just their mindset. And God bless her. I mean, she's 95 years old. She's alert. She's wonderful, but she starts to really arguing with me, and I'm just like, Mom, I yeah. And so she said that I'm just I'm too much of an optimist. I'm just like, I'm a dream. She called me you're a dreamer. And I'm thinking like, well, what's wrong with that? What could be better than being a dreamer? What could be better than expecting good things to be coming out of this? I do not expect to live in a place, I do not expect to live in a time period where corruption is rampant. I think corruption is being removed. That's part of Jasara. That's what this is all about. All this corruption is being exposed and being removed. We looked last night. There were like 324 people behind this, scamming our tax-paying money. The whether they were liberals or Democrats, who cares? These are criminals. How can they spray the sky and make it rain and call it climate change? Yeah, everybody has to know. I guess we're going to have to move it once it happens, silence the seventh seal. Yeah, I don't know. We need to dream big. I agree with Melody. We are the dreamers because we are creating reality. We are the collective consciousness that moves us to the next state of existence, to the promised land. We're there, man. I mean, I, you know, I mean, I use my own life as a kind of a benchmark of where things are. We went to town today. I really didn't want to go to town. I don't, I'm just like, do I have to, it's just it, but we went. I mean, I'm just like I'm experiencing miracles beyond miracles. We went to buy a couple of windows, right? We went let's because we got paid from LifeWave actually this week. We get paid in the middle of the week, and we're like, let's go buy some windows. Let me just put on the contact information since I'm talking about LifeWave. Um, yeah. Um, we got some money from Lifeway. It's really it's a default way of me to make a living. The channels I can't get monetized. I'm not monetized on X yet. I believe I will be. I haven't. I've been kicked off of YouTube more times than I can count. But they get somehow my channel, some remnant of my channel came back. So I think eventually things will go well. I mean, my videos seem to be doing well, but but it's like all the things that I thought I was going to make money on just didn't work out. But LifeWave is working out for me. So we went in to buy a couple of windows. So we had. So I mean, I I don't know how to express this, but it seems to me that we carve out certain pathways, certain energy channels, and it's kind of like when you're a little kid and you make a river in the sand, like you make a little channel and then it gets bigger as the waves come in, it gets to be a bigger channel and a bigger channel. So I came up here thinking like, how are we ever going to build a house if we can't even afford wood? And we go to the Home Depot and wood is like, $20 for a decent piece of wood. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? And so we start buying half price things at Home Depot. And then we go, I told this whole story, but today we went in to buy some windows, and we ended up buying 5 sliding glass doors, like just the door, because because I wanted to build a house that had like big windows, because I live in a place that's unbelievably gorgeous on in 360 degrees. Everywhere you look, it's like beautiful mountains beyond belief. So why would I want to live in a little house with some little windows, and like, okay, it's like I'm safe here, the snakes aren't coming into my house. It's that I think that's kind of like the attitude of a lot of people. And yes, I mean it not everyone could put up with the level of disarray that we do. But anyway, so we went to town, and for like $200 we got 4 big sheets of glass, which look, when you install them, and now that I have wood, I can properly build a frame for these pieces of glass, and it just looks amazing. Like we just finished the bathroom. We now have an inside we have now an enclosed structure around the RV. We put in the final wall. We have this huge 8-foot sliding glass door that I put on its side, so when you're on the throne, you're looking out at the most beautiful scene you could ever imagine. And I'm going to do that all over the house because it's like a round house. So I'm just going to install these big sheets of glass. But to me, it's like, wow, man, I expected to have all this money. I should have all this money from, lawsuit against the Department of Education, from being, a successful YouTuber, but I don't have any of that. And yet I don't need it. I don't need it because not that I don't want it. I would love to be able to make some money doing what I love to do. But I would also, I don't, I also, I'm at a point where if I make money, that's good. If I don't make money, that's good. This is what I do. But anyway, so we went into town, and for, $200, man, we walked out with some huge pieces of glass that are designed to be sliding glass doors that nobody wants because they're just individual piece of glass. But for us, it's a treasure beyond treasures, right? Because I want to live in one of those houses with floor to ceiling glass so I can see the beauty around me. Even at night, the stars are spectacular. And I've been here long enough to know which sides you can put windows on, which sides are too bright, they get too much sun. So, so I'm just saying, my point is that we do these, we can do what we want, and we're not dependent on the money. We think they want to convince us that it's all about, well, I can't do that until I get this, until whatever. Okay, so I'm going up on a slight tangent, but yeah. um I'm watching from New York City. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Walter, bye. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Daniela picked that up. Anyway, we so the manifestation may come in a way that isn't exactly the way you ordered it, but man, it's a beautiful world. We have so much to be thankful for. I know I do. I'm I got out of the matrix. They made me suffer. They tortured me. They kept me in a state of fear, and somehow everything worked out in such a beautiful way, and continues to work out in a miraculous way where you get the exact size window that you need to fill that space. It's just, like I say, I don't have any plans for this house. I just use whatever material I can accumulate. I use that to build, and it's just been one miracle after another. In the beginning, I bought 30 cedar posts, and I just started putting the posts in the ground. And then my friend Sam came by and said, "You want these big ponderosa pine boards?" I said, "Yeah." So I used the ponderosa boards to establish a foundation around the house. I would take the post, and then the board was 14 feet, so I'd go 14 feet to whatever the board was, 12 feet. I don't care. And anyway, it's just such a beautiful world that, but I just don't want people to get lost in despair and lost into these like dark spaces. This is a war. You have a function, you have a purpose, you are digital soldiers, you are aware of what's going on, and it's huge. Yes, so the LifeWave patches, I mean, I just swear by them. They, for aches and pains and energy in general, they are just amazing. Okay, so let me take this off. This could be distracting. I'm going to play a quick clip from I don't know, you'll have to read this, but it's kind of like focuses on the patch just a bit. Let's just go to this. Where is it? Okay, so that's just like kind of a quick visual representation of how amazing these patches are. Now, one thing I wanted to say, just in all honesty, that the patches are not necessarily an instant you're going to be a cure all. For me, it is, but I've been using the patches for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years, and when I put one of these patches on my body, it I feel it right away. That wasn't always the case. So you may have to really put in time, but if you stick with it, I just think you'll have tremendous results. So yeah, let me just put that up, the the contact information one more time, and then we'll kind of go back over that. Okay, so yeah, you could just sign up under www.lifewave.com, Kabbalah Guru. I don't really go by that title anymore, but that's what I signed up as. Or you could send Dr. Stacy an email, or text or call her. It'll take like no time at all. There is also, just so you know, there is a like, it's called Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday.
Black Friday. There's a Black Friday sale on some of the patches, which is, a very good way to try some of the different patches. There's one deal that has the energy patch, X39 and X49 all together, which is very tempting for us. I personally, I don't really need the energy patch. I just have from X39 really gets it for me. I would, when I'm rolling in dough, and YouTube decides they want to pay me after abusing me for 5 years, I will probably wear the X49 as well every day. And I do wear the XSP6, which is an endocrine enhancer, helps your endocrine glands. So I do wear different patches, but I don't really need the energy patch. I'm going all day, and I don't. X39 just does it for me. So anyway, just thought I'd mention that. Let's go back to. Okay, I'm gonna hide this again. So yeah, so I just think that there are two kind of basic thought streams that I want to explore. One is the idea that we are like Avatar, and there are like beings that have advanced technology and are using us, but we have discovered that. We know now, we can see behind the veil. We understand that they're stealing 8 million kids a year. Whoops, we lost Johnny and Jill. I don't know what happened to them, but this is on a scale that is not we can't understand these kinds of numbers. I mean, I can't. I'm just like, 8 million kids. But that's what this war is all about. It's for protection of our children. It's for protection, for getting out of this fear state. Is the light coming in stronger? The light just seemed to get. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, it's just beautiful. We're in such a beautiful thing. Thanksgiving is so important. I want to show you now. I don't know. Let me just look briefly at the thought stream, just so we can say that we looked at it. Let's just look at the general thought stream, not my own personal picks, but President Trump. Yeah, he. Okay, so there's a Q post here that says, "Those with the most to lose are the loudest. Those who knowingly broke the law in a coordinated effort, treason, are the most vocal." Okay, so they didn't kill you because you're a Nazi. They call you a Nazi so they can kill you. That's an interesting thought. Dane Wigington, why POTUS and RFK Jr. still haven't stopped Climate Watch. Okay, that may be of interest. Let's look. Let's listen to the beginning of this anyway.
Or I've got 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. So let's get to the meat of the issue. Jane, I got to ask you, why is it happening? Are they trying to poison us with chemicals? Are they dropping aluminum and mercury and all kinds of chemicals on our head, just like the vaccines are filled with aluminum and mercury and are poisoning us? Is it the same theory from the sky? And who's they? Is it the government? Because Trump is the government now. He couldn't be okaying this. He couldn't be approving it. He couldn't know about it, or he'd stop it. So what's going on?
I deal with people inside that circle, and they certainly know. I know Robert Kennedy. So the bottom line is they know. But I would argue any of those people in any of those circles, if they step out of line, they'll meet a fate just like John F. Kennedy met. That those who truly control the levers of power are those who print the money, and they are behind the curtain, not out on center stage. So bottom line, again, stated purpose is to slow the warming of the planet. We know it's making it worse, not better. In actuality, this is weather, chemical, and biological warfare. It's a method with which they can engineer cool downs. And Wayne, you just saw the cool down in the eastern U.S., right? You just saw that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I don't want to overstate this case, but it could be that this is such a big deal that it'll have to wait till the end of the war. I don't know. I find it despicable. I don't want to really like black pill anyone to feeling discouraged, but I prefer to think that it could be they're trying to wake us up. I don't know. I mean, that's one possible way to endure this humiliation of being out of control, of not being able to control the air that you breathe. uh, it's unconscionable. But we're dealing with an enemy that is so depraved and so sick that it's almost impossible to even fathom what they're doing. I want to go to the Q posts for tomorrow, because these are essential posts, and this is really in line with what I think I'm trying to say, that I may be expressing, I may not be able to express it, but these posts are fundamental to understanding that this is not like a third dimensional conflict. This is not a like, well, how many soldiers have been killed and how many are injured. And in a typical war, that would be the way you would decide who's winning, right? Okay, so what I'm saying is that personally believe, and this goes with Mike's comment later. Like, I feel like I could be the last one coming back with the map. You know, um, I feel like that out here. I mean, I experience such joy in creating my house, creating a house out of nothing. It's just it's when I get to spend time just building, which is not that often because I do other things. I have responsibilities, and we have to get food, and we have relatives and this kind of thing. But it's amazing. Okay, so let me go to these posts. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a level above this, and Melody, I totally agree that it is disheartening, but we need to just kind of just steer the channel just a little bit. If you change the direction you're going in by like 2 degrees, over time it turns into a very wide angle. So let me read these posts, because these are fundamental kinds of posts in my opinion. Let's go here. Okay. No, that was a different one. This one. Okay. This is from November 27th. I just saw this by accident, but what is coded in your DNA? Who put it there? Why? Mankind is repressed. We will be repressed no more. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Information is power. How do you protect your DNA? There is a war for your DNA. Protect your DNA. Ascension, right? Ascension. So, question answer in time. This is also November 27th. And this one also. Be aware of false prophets. I am not a prophet. You are not a prophet. We are not prophets. Focus on the mission, right? Here, Runbeck Dominion, SOS offices, investigators, researchers, whistleblowers, patriots in trusted positions. Trust yourself. You have seen the truth. Time to show the world. Focus, ascension. All right. And that's November 18th. But who are the silent thieves? Why are they manipulating you? How are they stealing your wealth? Let me just see what the topic is for this. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's by date. But okay, who are the silent thieves? Why are they manipulating you? How are they stealing your wealth? Bubble, crash, steal, lie, repeat. What is inflation? Monetary manipulation, taxation without representation. Put an end to the endless. 1913. right? Endless lies, endless wars, endless inflation, endless printing. I think they printed a couple $1 billion today. Endless oppression, endless subjugation, endless surveillance. Who will put an end to the endless? Taking control. Q. I don't know why. Oh, these are just in order. These are like the last of the Q posts. These are the um, yeah. So these are essential. The last. These are like the last posts that Q put out. But the idea of focus, ascension is, I think it's very important. I think that that a lot of news channels and a lot of podcasters get involved in the details and not the overview, which is that we're winning the war. We are, they're going into Minnesota and they're taking these creeps and sending them home, and that's part of Jasara, and that the 6,000 patents will reveal, like there was one today. What's this? Uh, Walter, by the biggest problem is being manipulated by social media. Yeah, and don't let them do it. I think that's a great way. I think, Walter, I appreciate that, because just don't let them do it. Don't get emotional. Even me. I mean, I fell this morning. I got up and I'm like shaking my hand at the airplanes that are putting filth in the sky. It doesn't help. It doesn't help the situation. That focus, ascension. We have to understand that we are the leaders of consciousness. We are the ones who are boldly going where no man has gone before. We're creating a new world, and nothing can stop it. And a lot of it has to do with Thanksgiving, of just being grateful, of appreciating the miracles that come your way. Like, a normal person would say, "Hey, man, you went to the lumberyard. You took these filthy, dirty, old, uh, um, pieces, sliding glass doors that don't have any doors. There's no slide. There's no doors, and you just put them in the truck, and you paid, $200 for it. What are you thinking?" And I'm like, "No, I'm thinking to myself, wow, man, I'm going to be building the house of my dreams with floor to ceiling. This is an 8 foot piece of glass I put in the bathroom that goes horizontally." So somebody, you could think, and it's kind of like the same way with everything now. We're distracted. We have to focus, ascension. We have to focus on what am I learning from this experience. There's a saying in Hasidus that the guys who really are like the head of the curve, the head of the pack, when something bad happens to them, they say, "Thank you, God. Thank you, God." Why? Because nothing really happens that's bad. It's all measured to help you in some way, and that, in fact, and I've mentioned this before. I used to mention this a lot more, but in fact, the things that happen that seem difficult and make you angry are blessings that are more powerful than, like, okay, man, you just got a check for $100 or whatever it is. Like, that's like, oh, that's nice, that's beautiful, man, I needed that check. But when you go through an experience, like Danielle and I sometimes go through an experience, like, well, we want to go to town but we don't have any money, and it's like, okay, and we just make it work. We just, time and time again, for years and years, we've been doing this. A lot of times we do have money, and we know exactly what we want. We go in, okay, we need this, and this. We've been waiting to buy this. We finally have 2 tanks of propane, big, those big tubes, 100 pounders, I think they call them, 25 gallons. 2 of them. We've been waiting for months to have a second tube of propane, so that when one goes, when one goes dry in the middle of the night, the heat stops. We just I just go outside and switch from one tank to the next, and then go to the next day, go back to the town and fill it up. Miracles, beyond miracles. I mean, if you're into the flow, if you allow it to happen, if you can see past the annoyances, or appreciate the annoyances as being things to wake you and to help you, and that the essential force in our universe is goodly, goodly. So some of the so-called power guys are pushing the narratives all the following. The false MAGA is not breaking up. Trump is not firing anyone. Yeah, I know, Melody, and I find it just. I don't even look at them. I mean, I don't look at any of them. Because it it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Why would we have come this far just to be, oh, Trump's really, he's really on the, it's just ridiculous. If you believe that, what's the point? You might as well just, give up. I mean, I don't see that. I just keep going on. And I would listen to something by Derek Johnson, maybe, even though I find, I like the guy. I met the guy once. I shook his hand. He's a sweetheart. But even he can be rather, he yells at people for being stupid. I give people a break. Hope you have a great day, my friend. Tomorrow, yeah, man. Hey, Jenny. It's all in scripture. It really is all in scripture. But however, I've been interpreting scripture in different ways now. I mean, I think it is all in scripture, but I don't think I don't think that we should interpret Genesis necessarily the way it's presented to us. I think we have to really re-examine our interpretation of a lot of these things. And like they talk about Mashiach, that the Messiah will interpret things differently. I think that's coming up. I was saying last week that I don't think necessarily that making the world into 7 days a week, organizing in that fashion and having 24. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that that's necessarily a good thing. The only thing upsetting me is seditious. Derek Johnson is sweet, but he does yell at people. Yeah, I agree. Listen. I really think that you are the news, and you have to create. If you work with X, and you're careful to, like, I'm ruthless about removing people from my thought stream. I mean, I don't like. I don't like, no offense to anyone here, but I don't like being told that if I don't believe in Jesus, I'm going to hell. It's just like, I don't want to. I'm not interested in communicating with somebody who has that particular viewpoint, because you know if this guy was real. I mean, we don't, we question it in Judaism, but he would have said, I believe that he would have said, hey man, you're just as cool as me, you can do this. um Not like you should worship me kind of thing. It's just a little different way of looking at things. It's written that some things should not be revealed to all. Yeah, well, that's what Q says. The end is not for everyone. Why would you and Daniel what would you and Danielle do for Thanksgiving? Right. So we are doing, I did buy a turkey, and I had my friend Mike cut it into pieces so that I can put it on the fire. We do most of our cooking on the fire outside. So Danielle's father is going to be flying into to Vegas tomorrow. We're going to go pick him up and hang out with him for a day. They're planning. He's planning to. Her cousin has visited us, and we're they're planning to go to the Grand Canyon. I'm not sure if we're going to be going or not, but that's sort of like, I just thought, well, we'll come up here, we'll eat some turkey and cranberry stuff, but every day is Thanksgiving by me, man. I mean, every day I get to eat and hang out with Daniela and put in some windows, man. I mean, have a own a Jeep. All this has been created out of nothing. It's all a miracle to me. Messiah is all over the Old Testament, right? And, well, understands and loves and trusts, will judge for. Yeah, actually, hey, Richard, it's good to see you. Richard sustained me in my early years before. Well, I still don't get paid, but I really appreciate. I had to. Richard is so sweet. He was continuing to send me checks, and I was just like, Richard, man, I can't do this anymore. He was just so generous, just unbelievable person. But I found your channel again. I missed a lot. You were living by the beach, and now you are out west. Hope all is good. Yeah, no, it's great, man. I mean, Daniela and I was living by myself on the beach because spiritually I was told you need to be by the water right now. So I was by the water for a while. I found a little apartment. I was thinking back, by the way, that I was for about 2 months. I actually made a living from YouTube, and I went to rent a place called Long Beach. Nobody would rent to me. I'm like, hey man, I'm making but and probably because they knew that that wouldn't last for long because they censored me. But whatever. Yeah, so I was living by myself, and Daniela sent me an email. She said, "You need me," and I said, "Okay, come on out." I was very lonely. I physically and emotionally and lonely, and she came out and joined me, and then we've been together for about 2 years. We're pretty much inseparable. We basically just we're kind of like glued to each other, and she has eczema, and the air in New York City, even on the ocean, was horrendous. And by the way, just to remind everyone, we personally saw, because we had a view of, we were on the 13th floor of this building, and we could see JFK International Airport, that after dark, plane after plane after plane, probably full of immigrants, would come into JFK, and we were a personal witness to that. But anyway, so Daniela said, she had eczema, and it said, okay, so let's move out west where it's dry. And we tried to buy a house in Arizona. We kind of figured like Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, and then we tried to buy a house, and it was like, man, I couldn't get a bank loan, of course, and because I play with the banks, and I diss them, and I don't pay credit cards, and I don't pay taxes, and all that stuff. So then we saw like a property for sale for 170 acres. Actually, yeah, 17, 170 acres for 120 grand. I said, well, that I would love that. And so I called the guy. I said, listen, man, I can't get a bank loan. He said, don't worry, we'll finance it for you. So that's what we did. So we came in, we moved into an RV. We bought an old RV. We dragged it onto the land, and we've been living here ever since, and now we're trying to build a house. Um, when is the big marker? The big That's a very good question. When is the big marker? Because it's my opinion that the big marker is a personal marker. This is what I'm kind of trying to say. I think it's a very good question. When is the big marker? Because we all want to know that. When is it going to happen? I've stopped asking. I don't, people say the EBS is coming next week. The QFS is operable. XRP is going to the moon. We're all going to be free. They're going to, tell us. I don't believe any of that stuff. I just believe it's up to me to create a wonderful day, to wake up in the morning and do purposeful things, and be there for Daniela. I mean, even if we have a little tiff, to just give her a hug and say, "Look, I'm sorry, I overreacted," and to put in some sliding glass doors, i.e., that are really for me, they're windows, and glorious and miraculous, and make sure we have enough food up here and that kind of stuff. We're way up in the mountains. We're in a very remote place. We're miles from the highway, so we're up in a dirt road that we measured it. My Daniela's cousin Roman, we noticed that on the Jeep that the incline up to our house is 15 degrees, which is like this. It's like if you're a skier, maybe you would appreciate it, but there's no snow. The planes. I remember watching the planes as you did your broadcast. Yeah, counting the many. Yeah, it was so obvious that they're shipping in people. But this is a war, and now they're shipping them back. They're going. So the main thing is not, in my opinion, is not to worry, is not to sweat it. Just like know that everything is progressing. Now I don't know about the chemtrails. I don't know. They're saying that we're dealing with demonic forces. That's what Q says. We're not dealing with an enemy of flesh and blood. We're dealing with archons and this and but I believe it's my opinion that the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and the Galactic Federation is on our side and helping us, and that as soon as we as a collective agree that we want freedom, that in other words, we have to make the choice. So if you're making the choice to go from black pilling podcaster to black pilling podcaster, and you're in that mindset, that's not really necessarily going to help our case. I mean, it is a developmental level that a lot of people need to go through, but it's my opinion that we need to take responsibility for this transformation of the planet, that we need to understand that we are responsible for changing ourselves to the degree that it changes the planet, and we ascend into another state of consciousness outside. I remember going, when I was living in New York before I met Danielle, way before, when I was in the Hasidic community, telling my rabbi, my mentor, like, I'm scared all the time, man. I mean, like, I go to work and I'm like, they're going to fire me today, they're going to fire me tomorrow, they're going to put a letter in my file. I looked at somebody cross-eyed, or I said, you look so nice today, and then they're going to fire. That's I lived in a state of fear. And he says, no, it's not natural for a person to be afraid all the time. You have to be a mensch. You have to be a man. And it was not easy, but now I feel like, I get to be myself. I'm playing myself now. But the ascension process, Q says, focus, focus, ascend. Stay focused on your own ascension. Stay focused on what brings you joy. Stay focused on what you feel your real purpose is. And it's not to make money and to keep your job and to get your 401k. You know your real purpose. When you were a child, you understood it clearly. You didn't have to, nobody had to explain it to you. You knew exactly what you were doing, and you still know exactly what you need to do. So this is a time to really begin doing it, in my opinion. Hey guys, two things I try to remember: don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. That's good. I like that, Robert Taylor. Yeah, it's all small stuff. Yeah, and it is, the devil's in the details, right? But like, recently, like, I used to go nuts dealing with the matrix, getting on phone calls, and now it's like, okay, I screamed and yelled, and I threw the phone across, whatever, and it doesn't help your case. So now I'm just like, okay, I'm not happy about having to deal with this phone call or this issue, or the fact that they just canceled my phone contract for the 50th time. It's just like, but I call them, I say, look, can we make a deal? And they explain some insane rule that they tell me that you can't break the contract. In other words, for me to, I mean, it's the matrix. But we're heading for the promised land, I think. Me vaya con Dios. Gracias, amigo. Yeah, hasta mañana. But it's Thanksgiving, man. We have a lot to be thankful for, and I think we we have to be thankful for Q for alerting us to the nature of the enemy, to the real enemy. Danielle, what did you say? How many dollars do they print today? Like a couple of billion?
2.75 billion.
How much?
2.75 billion.
She said they printed like $3.75 billion today. Three
Two.
2.75 billion today. I mean, the deep state is in panic. The deep state's in trouble. This is a plan, and it is working. in my opinion. And yeah, you might say the chemtrails, you might be wringing your hands. This is the end of the war, and the enemy is going down hard. So I just don't linger in the shadows. Don't linger in these patriots, so-called patriots, that are telling you, like that guy was saying, these guys, there's nothing. He was basically saying they're going to kill you if you go against them. I mean, and I know the Q was very conscious of that idea, that they could blow up something with a nuclear thing. That's like the sum of all fears. That's right out of that movie. That they had to deal with, like a seriously dangerous caged, an enemy that is capable of coming up with a medical system that's designed to hurt you. That they're capable of feeding you food that has embryonic kidney cells in it, to make you take part in a satanic ritual while you're drinking your orange juice or your Pepsi. These are people who steal 8 million kids a year. This is a vicious, demonic enemy. Yeah, the libs in the street are their little puppets, but they're going to be they're being removed. I mean, I'm not seeing so many things about liberals in animal suits outside of the ice place in Portland. I'm not seeing those movies right now. So I think they're in trouble, and I think we just have to hang on. As far as a date, yeah, we would love to know. People say, okay, it's today, it's tomorrow. I think it's whenever you are ready to move into ascension. It's a personal choice. All right. Anyway, stay away from the doom scrolling. Yeah, I think so. I think so. And we love that. I mean, it's our nature to go to there, but it's just it's not it's things are happening. Things are really moving. We know the enemy now. This is like the sum of all fears. They're like, why should we fight the Russia, or what? But we can get them to fight each other. The hidden enemy is not hidden anymore. We see the Wizard of Oz. He's exposed. We know it's the Fed. I mean, we know all these things. We see these criminals. They're being arrested every day, and they're being escorted out of their houses in Minneapolis. So you can look at how horrific it is, and all these illegal immigrants are taking over the world, or you can look at them. They're all being arrested. They're all being taken out. They cannot survive without the money that the Biden administration gifted to them. They can't survive here. They don't have money, and they will be gone. And that's part of Jasara. Jasara says you have to be in your nation of origin in order to receive your funds. So the white hats are just, and the good guys are just busy removing the source of all this corruption and graft and shell games with the money. It's like, well, you're an immigrant, so we'll give you money, but the regular Americans not. I mean, this is coming to an end, and that's the good news. It's colossal. It's a colossal war, but we're winning. And yeah, so stay away from I would stay away from the doom scrolls. I just don't bother. I mean, even that little clip about that they're going to kill you if you go against the chemtrails. I don't know. I don't know. I don't take these things too hard. I just believe that good things are going to happen. Is it going to happen in terms of a date? They've been telling us it's going to happen next month for the last 5 years. Or I've been feeling like they continually put out dates in front of us and say it's going to happen in May, it's going to happen in June, it's going to happen in July, it's going to, and it just goes, they keep saying it's going to happen January 1st, it's going to happen January 23rd, it's going to happen November 27th. And we just have to ignore that as well as the doom scrollers and just focus on what am I about? What is my purpose? And how do I get there? What action can I take to, I mean, like, I didn't do any action to, to attract Daniela in my life. I just I just transformed myself into the kind of person that apparently was attractive to her, to the point that she sent me an email and said, let's hang out. And I'm like, okay. And she just basically moved in, and we've been together ever since. It's like she's willing to be my partner, and I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm delighted. I don't like being alone. I really need. I feel that there's a tantric energy that is necessary for people to live in good health. Anyway, yeah. So, um, let me see. Stay away from the doom store. Yeah. Hi. Thread of Hera. Nice. When is so the big marker? When is the big marker? I would say whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready for the big marker, it's ascension. What does that mean? It means I know what I'm about. I'm not affected by stuff on the outside. I'm not waiting to be saved because I am saving myself. I am becoming the person that I was always meant to be. And like in my case with the broadcasting, I'm starting to get some good numbers. It's like Danielle says, you got 20,000 hits on your thing last night. I'm like, that's nice, I and or she say, your your video was terrible, and I'm like, that's nice. It's just like that's just stuff. The thing is that I'm doing what I feel I came here to do, and I do it every day. And I don't think about like, well, I don't really feel like broadcasting tonight. It's just like I'm going to be broadcasting tonight. Period. We go through days where we're out in town or we're out somewhere buying something or doing something, and we don't get back till late. And I'm just like, okay, I'll broadcast now. But that's just what I do. And I think when people reach that stage of they understand who they are, and what function they must, fulfill in order to be yourself. When enough of us really reach that state, I'm not saying I'm like some kind of ascended master. I'm just saying, like, do what you love, man. In terms of the date, it'll happen whenever you are ready for it to happen. It's happened. You don't have to wait. You don't have to live like a refugee. You can just, like I said, I've accumulated a friggin' lumber yard. I have a lumber yard outside, man. I got it for like nothing because they're a little bent. I mean, I'm a little bent. So what? It's like I can use that wood. I can cut off the end that's like fishtailing like this. I just cut it off and use. But it's like we if I wasn't in that mindset, I would be like, well, I have to have plans. I have to have, I'm a carpenter, so it's not that, it's not out of it's not like I'm out here with no skills. I know how to use the skills, so I know how to use a chop saw. I know how to use a screwdriver, which I think is fundamental for every living creature, is to know how to use a screwdriver. It's not easy using a screwdriver. I mean, you can really mess it up, and it's not a, like, oh, I just use I just need the right screwdriver. No, you have to really know how to torque that little sucker. Anyway, so yeah, okay, so let me contact information we had. You know how to reach Dr. Stacy, right? If you want the patches. Again, it's not a quick fix, but it is a quantum therapy. It is based on light, and I after, like, I guess it's been 3 years already. I really don't function well without my X39. Is that wrong? I don't know. It just works for me. I'm not in pain. I can function. I can do stuff. I can sit in the car if I have to for hours and hours, which I hate, but we do that a lot out here. Stay away from the doom scrolls. Yeah. Okay. So I get to the bottom? You look younger. I feel younger. I mean, I'm really loving this life. I have the kind of personality that I need to be busy at all times. I don't do like sitting around very well. Although, nowadays we spend a lot of time we live in the middle of nowhere with Starlink technology. So we're constantly perusing the information stream, which is a delight. It's wonderful, and it's wonderful to be having some measure of success. Whether I get paid or not, it doesn't matter. I get paid from sharing LifeWave, which is something I really believe in. Yeah, I wish I was getting paid by YouTube, but it'll come when it's necessary. Um, what's that new here?
I guess the LifeWave patches.
Oh, the LifeWave patches. Okay, so let me just go through it quickly. These little patches are. This is called a LifeWave patch. It was designed by David Schmidt for the Navy SEALs 20 years ago. This is not a new technology. They have tons of clinical evidence, but this particular patch, this is X39. Is this X39 or SP6? I think this is X39. Yeah, this is X39. It reflects your wavelength of light there's a certain crystalline structure here, reflects it back into your body. And in the case of X39, it stimulates stem cell production. So for me, aches and pains are gone. I have tremendous energy. I don't nap anymore. I feel younger. I feel better. I don't know why anybody would not want to take this. When I'm using Exerden, I don't need to drink coffee. I drink coffee because I love it, but I don't really need it anymore. And it doesn't put anything in your body except light. So it's a tremendous technology. Let me just go to captions. It's and All you have to do to get it is call Dr. Stacy at 812-455-6897 or send her an email. She'll get back. It may take her a day or two. She'll call you back. You'll say, I heard Ellie was talking about this incredible healing technology. She'll say, yeah, get some you'll tell her, well, I'm really tired. I suffer from whatever. And she'll say, okay, you could use this and this, and she'll show you the best way to buy it. LifeWave. Sorry, not sure if I heard that correctly. X39. Yeah, love this information. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, but listen, I'm 70 years old, man, and I'm out here in the middle of nowhere building a house, and I can't afford to be when I don't have my X39 on. I can barely. I'm like I'm twisted up. I mean, my back hurts, my legs hurt. I'm a little guy and I'm lifting hundreds of pounds of lumber every day. I mean, I'm running around like a madman. I have to lift things. I mean, there's nobody out here except for when my friend Roman, when Daniela's cousin is here. He's a huge guy. He really, he's like, here, I'll take that. And I'm just like, whoa. But for me, sometimes I have to figure out ways to move things without lifting them up. But anyway, the X39 just makes life wonderful. It keeps me young, keeps me happy, keeps me out of it. Really cures pain. If you're taking Tylenol, there is a patch called Ice Wave, which which takes away pain. I find the X39 takes away my pains, but if you're suffering from a severe condition, you might want to get the Ice Wave patches. You don't want to be taking Tylenol, man. You don't want to be doing allotropic, is it called, medicine. You don't want to be taking things that cure your symptoms but hurt you, or but mess up your liver or whatever. There's no bad side effects. There is none. And there's 20 years of clinical evidence to say that this really works. That was invented for the Navy SEALs right? The energy patch was invented for the Navy SEALs. I don't take the energy patch because I don't need it. But before I was taking this, and even like the first year I was taking this, I was still napping every day. I was napping like twice a day. And then now I don't even think about napping. Of course, I'm doing what I love to do. I'm not, stressing out. Car accident, bad nerve pain. I also had a bad car accident, and I have all kinds of pains. I mean, I broke my femur when I was 26, and the doctor said you'll always walk with a limp. Well, I don't limp. I run. But this helps if you have aches and pains. Talk to Dr. Stacy, give her a call, and she'll tell you what you need. She may recommend the ice wave patch, which is just for pain. But I like the X39 because X39 stimulates stem cell production, so your stem cells will go to wherever in your body needs it to go. It doesn't mean it's going to go where you want it to go, but for me, like when I feel back pain, I put one of these, and my preferred position for this is right on my tailbone, and it I feel it instantly. But I've been taking it for 3 years. I didn't always feel it like that. It takes time for your body. You have to eat right. You have to get exercise. You have to get sunshine. There's plenty of sunshine out here. The weather is so gorgeous. But anyway, yeah. So if you're in pain, or if you have some kind of symptoms, and the doctors say, well, there's nothing we can do for you with this, or maybe this will help you. That's just this is a network marketing thing, because the mainstream medical community would not allow something like this to hit the mainstream. So, there's one more aspect to it, and that is that it's kind of miraculous. It's kind of like finding uh, sliding glass doors that I can repurpose as windows, even if they're filthy dirty, and I pull them out of an old, it's it's not everyone is ready to experience miraculous healing. And some people are just like, this, I can't be, they can't be, because they're so brainwashed. So, like my mom, I tried to give her, she got boosted and everything else. I'm like, Mom, take some patches. And she's just like, she couldn't relate to it. So not everyone can relate to the idea of that something that doesn't harm you and doesn't put anything in your body could actually make your life incredibly pleasant. You have to be open enough to experience it. But if you are, call Dr. Stacy to tell her you want to order some patches, you want to try it. They recommend, I think, taking it for, I forget what figure she had, but for something like, for every decade that you're old, you should try it for 3 months or something like that. You could ask her.
6 months.
What is it?
6 months.
6 months. For every decade that you're old, you should add another 6 months, because it does take a while for the body to really start healing. But it's your own body that heals itself. It's not like, it doesn't put anything into your system, except it just reflects your own infrared light back into you, which stimulates, in the case of X39, a certain copper peptide, which stimulates stem cell production. Once you get stem cells going, man, they'll your body heals itself. So it's kind of like med bed technology, but we don't have the med beds yet. Are we going to get them January 1st? I don't think about stuff like that. I don't think about time. I think the less you think about time, I think in the Old Testament they talked about how God came along and he separated night from day, and he gave us the weeks. And I think this obsession with weeks and time is designed to keep you in the fear space and to keep you from experiencing the real pleasure of existence. Like, the idea of unity consciousness, for me, plays out when I go outside this RV, and I go into the house, which is outside the RV. And what does that mean? It means I could be working on the water system. I could be uh, cutting boards for the next window. I could be fixing a crack in the concrete in the toilet. I that when I get outside, I'm not separate. Like what I think in the Old Testament, it sounds like, God said this is different from this. And once you start separating, you start looking at individual things, like what Melody says. You start looking at doom scrollers. You separate yourself, and you go, oh, that's reality. When you're in unity consciousness, you're just doing. It's not, oh, I have to do this and I have to have a time, I have to have it done by. You're just in a state of doing it. It's so pleasurable when you don't think about time, and you don't think about what day it is, and you don't feel like you have to finish the project. You're just doing. That's I think that's the essence of existence. And I think that even doing this, even going to order this and remembering to put it on, you put it on for 12 hours during the day. I cannot sleep with the X39 patch on my body. I wake up like so, and sleep is not always that easy for me. But there's an Alavita patch for night. There's something called Silent Nights to help you sleep. But these are not supplements. It's not putting anything in your body. It's just reflecting your own light. The inventor David Schmidt came up with this for the Navy SEALs, the energy patch. But it's awesome. I do a meeting with Dr. Stacy every Tuesday at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. She's amazing too. I mean, just to get to know her is also she's just so much energy, so much youth. And she discovered it because she had a child who was challenged, and she gave it to the child, and the child was completely started speaking. And I mean, it was just amazing things happened to her little Taylor when she, so that's how Dr. Stacy get into it. And she's like got a couple degrees in naturopathic medicine, but she's a spitfire, man. She's like phew, she's like she's got that she embodies like the forever child within you. She's just like forever childlike, forever innocent, forever beautiful, forever loving. Just and that's unity consciousness, man. And you can still have bad days and be in unity consciousness, in my opinion. I do. But when I'm out there with my tools and in the sunshine in Arizona, wow, I'm plugged in. I'm in the what is it, in the mode, in the move, in the groove, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, so let me yeah, so LifeWave I think is really worth doing. I also think investing is really important, that we should all be investing in things, even small things, even a couple of shares. Like we were looking at this there's an asset called Stronghold SHX. It's going up now, but we bought it when it was, if it's associated with the ISO 222 coins, it's going to go up. It's going to go up eventually. So, and silver and gold, and just, to be a participant in your own life, to invest, to do things for your health. We're very into the carnivore diet. We do intermittent fasting. I don't eat till about 12 o'clock. Daniela doesn't eat till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And she's like, wow, I mean, I feel so good when I'm fasting. And I also feel good when I'm fasting. It's becoming easier and easier. And I do a lot of work when I'm fasting, because yeah, you're not worried about food. You're just you're just pure energy. So it's a beautiful world. Let's love this information. Yeah, thank you, Mike, for asking. I really appreciate it. But we, it's a surprise, surprise, surprise. We make our grocery money off by sharing a product that we really love. I thought I was going to be, doing a big YouTuber, thought I was going to get a big settlement from the Department of Education, and here it is that God had different ideas for me, and it's fine. It's fine. It's just like scoring some, throw some. The lumberyard would have had to pay for a dumpster to get rid of these big sliding glass doors, and I'm just like, hey man, I'll buy them, because they look amazing as when you look out into the mountains. So I'm gonna play a tune. We'll play "Leaving the Matrix." We are all leaving the Matrix. When is it going to happen? When is the big thing going to happen? when you are ready for it to happen. When you say, okay, man, I'm going for it. Screw the matrix. Personally, for me, I don't pay. I didn't. I stopped paying credit card bills. I stopped paying taxes. I stopped buying their insurance scams. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't even really renew my license anymore. I'm just like, I'm out. I don't associate with that stuff anymore. I mean, if I have to, I have to. But generally, screw it. And I'm doing what I love to do. And is it totally kosher? It is for me. And I'm not worried about the date when it's going to happen because it's already happened for me. I'm already doing what I want to do. I don't have to wait for the flag to people start waving the flag. I'm already there, and I think that's what Q really wants for us: not to be doom scrollers, but to be enjoying the ascension process. Everything is in place. Okay, so yeah, let me play a tune I wrote a couple of years ago. We fast too, only one meal a day. Yeah, it's good for you. I think so too. I like it, Wendy. I mean, it feels good to me. I'm eating less and less. I'm less like fixated on like, oh, I got to eat now. Um, what's the stock symbol? I think it's SHX, but I would recommend when it dips. I mean, it's hard because crypto's going up a bit now, but XLM, XRP, HBAR, Quant, Algorand, Cardano, Flare Network, I think, SHX, I think, Stronghold SHX. There might be a couple of other ones, but whenever you can buy, in my opinion, a a a coin that actually has a function like Bitcoin, I don't buy, but XRP, it will be running. The rails of the financial system will be running on XRP and XLM, Stellar and Ripple, Stellar, Lumens, and Ripple. The rails of the new economy, not the Fed is dead, and so buy a little silver. I've already spent, I periodically buy some silver, and then I just, if I have any extra money in the bank, which I rarely do, I'll buy a roll of silver, and then I'll cash it in as soon as I need it. I cashed it in for a bunch of lumber. I bought a roll of 20 silver eagles, and I was very excited about having that. And then as soon as somebody made me an offer about selling me some of this what's called dunnage, which is wood that's a little bit funky. I was like, here, I cashed in my silver. I said, I got to buy the lumber. I can't live. I can't, I can't stop the wind with a piece of silver, but I can with some decent lumber. Anyway, it's a beautiful world, man, and it's Thanksgiving, and just celebrate. Yeah, and just celebrate the joy and focus on what's really good for you, and create your own joy. Go for the joy, man. Go for the gusto. Go for. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. Go for go out on a date with somebody you would never think of dating, and don't be afraid to try things that are, that seem weird, like this seems like a weird thing. A lot of people are just like, they're just not up to it, like my mom. She's just like, man, I can't remember when I'm supposed to take it on, when I'm off. It's not going to work for her. So yeah, we love you guys too, man. Walter, thank you so much for stopping in. XDC, right? I forgot that. XDC, yeah. XDC is another one. IOTA is another one. Okay, I haven't been able to get a hold of IOTA, but I finally did find a way to buy XDC. But just buy and hold. Do not even think. Do not even worry about how much it's worth at any given time. You just buy the stuff, and when it goes down, you buy some more. Well, most people would be like, "Oh my gosh, it went down." It's like, "Oh my gosh, it went down. We don't have enough. How are we going to buy some more?" That's our attitude. And we've been doing this for years. I've been doing this for years, so I've accumulated a little bit. I got scammed, but I still have uh, XE. Yeah, XE. I don't know about XE, but it could be. I'll check it out. Anyway, let me play this tune, and Have a great Thanksgiving. I will try to broadcast tomorrow night, God willing, just to just to keep the faith, man. Focus, ascend. That's for me. Keeps me together. So let's let's play. I last night I did the New Morning. This is more about leaving the Matrix. So let's do this one.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, we're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Moving to paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. Leaving the Matrix, we're heading for the promised land.
That's so funny. Tax are for carpets. Yeah, taxes. I don't even I don't even think of filing taxes. I stopped playing that game years ago when I took out my what do they call it, non taxable retirement fund, and then they were like trying to tax the hell out of me, and I just said, I just paid you 20% to get my money, my money. I paid you 20%. And now we know what they do with the taxes. So that's even more incentive not to even don't even deal with them. It's like, if a lawyer, don't deal with their lawsuits, don't deal with their taxes, don't deal with their insurance. This is just me. I'm not, this is not, I'm not a professional investor, but do invest, make money on, your way. Do, if you can if you can share Lifeway products and make a living doing that. I mean, that's what I'm doing basically. um I bought some land. I mean, just do, focus, ascend. Don't be sidetracked by these doom and gloomers, because it ain't that way. I mean, you could sit here and go, "Oh my God, the illegal aliens are going to take over the world." No, they're all getting deported. They came in flight after flight. We saw it night after night, but they're now all, in Minnesota, wherever it's happening. There 500 more National Guard in Washington D.C. This military is moving everywhere. They're taking out the drug dealers in Venezuela, the cartels in Mexico, they're Nigeria. I mean, this is a worldwide campaign, and at the end of it, it will be Jassara law. So if you want to know where we're going, just check out Jassara. I don't do Jassara anymore because I did it for so many years. But if you want to look at my old videos on Rumble, you could find a lot of videos about Jassara. We're heading for the promised land, man. I mean, but it's an individual decision. It's a choice. You can sit in the misery and worry about the fear and feed the archons, or you can just like, hey man, I'm out. I'm heading for the promised land. So thanks for coming tonight. Thanks for those of you who have been brave enough to try the Lifeway product. Thank you so much for all your support and just for being here and just for being you. Just appreciate how beautiful you are. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, you really matter. You make the difference. That's what this is all about. It's us waking up, humanity waking up to realize we've been lied to, man. And we ain't what they think they're telling us we are. We are manifestors. We are creators. We are divine. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. You can do whatever you want. Whatever you can set your mind to, you can accomplish just by through little actions. Like I was talking about the thing. Like first I bought a piece of wood at half price. Then I bought a truckload, and then the mother load came. But I knew what to do because I had already established these pathways. In the beginning, it may not, what you want may come in little dribbles, but as you continue to move in that direction and to act appropriately, it's all in the action. You will come to, miracles. May source be with you. May you realize that you are source. You are the creative source of the universe, and whatever you want, you nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop what's coming. And where we go one, we go all. So thanks again, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Take the time to really appreciate all the beauty and wonder that are filaments in your light filled life. And let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.